Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman Battle Network Operate Star Force. In the last where we finally reached the proper early portions of the Undernet, we're going around the world and getting a couple chips. And now we're gonna head towards where the World 3 server address supposedly is in... would you call that the mid-Undernet? Undernet 4-ish? Now, the routes that we're going on right now have a couple of new viruses for us, but because of the order of which I've gone through exploring the world, there aren't too many in the early portions of the Undernet left. There's a couple, but compared to other portions, it could be a lot more. Though there are still important things to grab along the way, because we're going to have at least one refight against a boss fight along the way here. Because they place the bosses, again, kind of weirdly. Partially because the internet in Battle Network 1 has just one distinct visual theme. There's no real sense of where things are placed compared to other games. For instance, Elec Man is fightable at the very end of this pathway. They try to say that, say, Internet 4 is the Dentown Internet, but there's no real link compared to what Battle Network 2 Beyond would do, where specific areas are linked visually to other portions of the overall map. Battle Network 3 especially took that and ran with it moving forward. Elec Man V2 doesn't have much more complicated going on. He tends to be a bit more aggressive with attacking, I feel, as he'll use attacks that keep you more on your feet rather than ones that you can kind of just stand still for, like the Tesla coil attack. But by and large, as you can see, he kind of dies pretty quick. Partially because the Buster here in Battle Network 1's a little bit broken in terms of pure damage output, but still, it's good. For beating Elec Man, we're going to get his battle chip, and the way it works here in Battle Network 1, it's, I believe, targets the enemies directly for the as-listed number of Elec elemental damage, which makes it, I believe, relatively good against things like Iceman, but against people like Sharkman, it's deceptively not useful, because I believe it'll also target the obstacles in cases like that. And hi, Elec Man V3 already. I mean, hey, I'll take a V3 chip. You can give me one. I don't need it, but thank you for showing up that quickly. That's nice and reliable of you. I appreciate that. Also, that's awkward because that's not listed in my notes, so I'm just going to put him in there right now. Whoops. Elec Man 3 is honestly a pretty good chip, because not only does it do decent damage, but the E-code that Elec Man's chip has, period, is pretty easy to code with what I would consider good chips for my tastes. It's nice. It's nice to have around. Plus, that's one less chip I'll have to get later on. I think we're closing in on the 100 mark, so we're probably gonna... I forget where we actively end the main story of the LP at, numbers-wise for that, but we do pretty well on that from memory. I think we have at least 2/3. Undernet 3 is where we're going to actively start seeing a lot more new viruses here, because I think there's some we can only encounter in this area and, like, the second to last area of the Undernet, period. In particular, there's one I'm not too fond of just because I don't like the fact they can heal my other enemies, but we'll get to that when we cross that threshold right now. Spooky 3s. 120 HP, do 120 damage. And they're annoying because in terms of battle chips, I think they drop the single highest amount of any enemy in the game. Because they can drop Invis 3, Recov 10, Recov 30, Recov 50, Recov 80, Recov 120, Recov 150, and Recov 200. At least 3 of those are exclusive to that virus. It is ridiculous. It'll drop Recover 1 at anything from rank 1 through 3, Recover 30 at 4 through 5, same with Recov 50, Recov 80 at 5 through 7, same with Recov 120 at 7 through 10, Recov 150 at 7 through 10, Invis 3 at 8 through S, and Recov 200 as well as 8 through S. That one virus doesn't need that many battle chips. I think that might be the most a single virus has in the series? If not, it's definitely like top 3 or 4. Because not many have more than 2. 2 is usually the highest a single enemy will have, barring maybe certain things involving style changes in Battle Network 3, but we'll cross that threshold when we get to it, and trust me, I will not like covering that particular threshold. And time for the end branch of the initial Undernet. We've already been to the later Internet, of course. Undernet, of course, rather. But this is the end of the initial branch that Internet 4 starts. You can't go further than this in a lot of ways. In any way, rather. Now, something I feel they could have done to better diversify Operate Star Force a little bit, because they already added that echo to the music, is maybe for the later Undernet areas, like starting here and then Undernet 5 Beyond all has it as well, give it a slightly different take on Battle Network 1's network theme. I mean, I guess they didn't really make any new soundtracks for this outside of the title theme anyway, but it still would have been nice to have, you know? Because, God, the internet in Battle Network 1 is too samey. And they realize that, to their credit, because Battle Network 2 Beyond changes that, but damn. With that said, save coming up, because we're coming up on the boss fight for this mini scenario of gathering memos. How did you get in here? And who are you? I'm Megaman. And what brings you to me, the great Bombman? I'm here to get World 3's net address. I know you've got it, so hand it over. No, that won't do. It's deletion for you. Megaman, this guy isn't too bright. I don't think we have a choice. Battle routine set. Execute. Bombman's a bit of a fun fight in that he's going to be constantly kicking around his bombs, and they can land on any part of the field. If you use a fire chip on them, they'll explode in a cross pattern that can also detonate other bombs. But if you blow up the bombs on his side of the field, they'll blow up and will do massive damage to himself. Actuator, the bombs exploding in a cross pattern is supposed to be a reference to Bombman. Am I only now just realizing that? Otherwise, he doesn't have too many other attacks. He can place a mine battle chip somewhere on your field, which, like with the miney enemies, would be randomly placed, and if you step on the space it happens to land on, you're going to take some damage. But otherwise, he doesn't have too much else. I think he can use area steal, and I think he shares the iron body status ailment with Stone Man in that he'll never actively flinch. Yeah. So, if anything, he's one of the easier bosses in the game. I love his design, though. I think they did a really good job in basically every case adapting a classic Robot Master's design into a NetNavi. There's some that are a little bit out there in terms of what? I'm looking at Swordman in particular from Network Transmission, and Gravity Man for that matter. But ultimately, he's a really cool design. There's very few bad NetNavi designs, I'd say. But still, that's Bombman. Nothing too bad. But Bombman's never defeated. Lan, I've got the World 3's address. So let's use it to break into World 3's network. Fool, they don't call me Bombman for nothing. Net bomb program activated. Uh-oh, Megaman. You okay? Yeah, but... Oh no, the net's been closed off. Darn. We were so close. I'm sure we can use this address somehow. You're right, let's go talk to Dad. By which I mean let's promptly ignore that and start exploring again. Because now that we've fought Bombman, not only has his version 2 spawned elsewhere on the Undernet and later Undernet areas, from Undernet 5 Beyond in particular, but it'll also allow us, I feel, to more accurately tackle the other direction of the Undernet, because obviously here in Undernet 6, which is where we can get the last armor in the GBA version, by the way, like I mentioned last part, we can now branch off the other direction towards the true ultimate endgame areas just to get some battleships out of the way now. With that said, we got a new enemy here. This is the Amona Kill 2. 90 HP, 120 damage. The way they work, they have a shield around them that pops if you shoot at it, which means they'll take a free shot no matter what. And then they'll shoot water at you. Their battle chip is the Bubble Wrap chip, particularly Bubble Wrap 2 in their case. Their enemy line in particular is responsible for holding the Bubble Shield chips, which is as what it says on the tin. It is a shield that will protect you from a certain amount of hits. I think the higher ranked it is from the Amona Kill 1 through 3 line, either the longer it stays around or the more hits it'll take for you. I don't recall because, frankly speaking, I don't like the defensive chips in early Mega Man Battle Network games. The only one I really like that's not like a straight-up aura chip from the later games is one we can technically get in this game, but I'm more of a fan of it in its later appearances anyway, because I feel that it becomes more useful with the amount of things you can dodge with it. Now, we are taking a brief detour back towards the Undernet 7 and 8 directions, because this is where we can fight Bombman. As well, I want to say I go to the shop in Undernet 8 and find myself some HP memories. While we're here, though, I do want to drop by and defeat these Mosquito 2s again, because I actually get their Drain 2 chip this time around. That's another one off the list. And if memory serves, we're getting right into our next encounter, right? Yeah, we are. This is the Mighty 2. 120 HP, 180 damage. And their battle chip is just that. It's the mine line again, randomly places in the field, blah, blah, blah. Does heavy damage. Mighty 2s in particular will drop the Mine 2 chip. I believe starting from rank 7. No, from rank 5. I'm wrong. But the big thing we're here for is Bombman V2, who is at the end of this pathway. His refight's nothing too special, though admittedly, his battle chip's interesting. Bombman himself, I believe, is notably non-elemental in the fight, but his battle chip, I guess because of the bombs itself, is counted as fire elemental. As for what his battle chip does, it's a little bit of one you have to work around with. Bombman spawns wherever you are on the field and will kick his bomb 3 squares ahead of him, sort of like it's, you know, a bomb battle chip. But then the bomb will explode into the usual cross pattern if it doesn't immediately hit an enemy, I believe, and it'll do the as-listed amount of fire damage. The B coding alone makes it worth having in your folder, I'd say, because I've talked enough about that throughout the LP so far, I feel. But I think if the bomb doesn't detonate immediately, you can hit it with your fire elemental chips to do the usual detonation. But I think I'm thinking of the Black Bomb battle chip from later games in the series when it comes to that, particularly Battle Network 4 and 5. I think. It's been a hot minute, because I use it, but it's not one I use primarily because I'm usually the one who goes for the program advances first. With that, I believe our business here in Undernet 7 is concluded, so now it's time for us to take the branch in the opposite direction from Undernet 6, or I could fight Cloud 2s to get their battle chip, I would estimate, because I think I already have the Polar Bear Ice Cube battle chip, don't I? Yeah, there's the Cloud 2. Well, Meat Cloud. That battle chip has like 3 different names. I think in Japan they were known as Cloud 1, 2, and 3. In the GBA version, they were Cloud, Cloudier, and Cloudest, whereas now they're Cloud, Medium Cloud, Heavy Cloud. Alright, so Undernet 9, because now we're back in the post-game-esque late-game areas where there's little scenarios you have to do in order to get the next area of the Undernet unlocked. What you have to do here, I've never been too sure of. It's linked to battle chips, I know, but I'm not sure how they want you to do it. Either they want you to get the battle chip from every single virus variety in this area, just have it registered in your library, so like all the cannons, all the swords, things of that nature, or just get a certain amount of battle chips from battle here, period? I'm not too certain, because usually by the time I come here, I already have a lot of the chips from here anyway, and it feels like I should have them all anyway. Although I should note, there is one enemy I don't fight here yet, but you can. Down in the lower left square here of the 2, like, giant squares, at the center panel of it, you can fight Rockman V2. I forget to do that for a while because, frankly speaking, I forgot where he was. So we don't tackle that until post-game, but he's not exactly in the center of it either. He's off towards the top right of it for some reason, and I don't quite get why. But yeah, so now what I'm going to do is just going to run back and forth here on the top row until I eventually have gotten the battle chips from every enemy here. And I do believe that includes getting the Aqua Sword chip I don't have yet. I forget. But still, it's very important that you just get every battle chip. S-codes if you can, or S-busting levels if you can are very important to get. And eventually, it'll just let you pass. I've spent some time here. Sometimes I get to that area instantly, other times not so much. Now, Undernet 10 is an area you have to rush through, especially in the GBA version. In fact, I would recommend save scumming every couple of steps in the GBA version. Because in order to progress into Undernet 11, you need to get to the door at the end of this area within 7 or less encounters. Because Operate Star Force lowered the encounter rate, that's not too bad, but still be careful. If in case you don't feel like you've made significant progress since the last encounter, just reload a save and save frequently. There are some new encounters here, though, such as the Billy 3. 200 HP, 180 damage. It's the same usual Billy thing. They can electrify you, the Thunderball tracks onto you, all that jazz. They can drop the Thunder 3 chip, though, which does, I think, 150 damage, and it only drops from rank 5 or above. But yeah, I can't help but wonder if this area alone, as well as the next area, are why they reduced the encounter rate in Operate Star Force, so you could get through it in a feasible manner. Okay, this enemy sucks. This is the Popper 3, rather. 250 HP, 140 damage. They do the same thing as Popper 1s. They pop down, they shoot a leaf tower forward, the wood tower forward, so on and so forth. They can drop the leaf shield chip, which is absurdly hard to get in the original game, as well as the Popper 2's battle chip. But here in Operate Star Force, since they lowered the requirements to get some battle chips, they're not as bad to get. In fact, the Popper 2's battle chip is considered that chip for Battle Network 1, because every Battle Network in Star Force has that one battle chip / battle card that is just obtusely hard to get because of rates. This is the Twisty 3, 120 HP, 200 damage. They'll drop the Remobit 3 chip. The Remobit 3 chip will drop from ranks 5 or above, whereas the Leaf Shield chip will drop from rank 7 or above. That was rank 8 or above exclusively, I believe, in the GBA version. Same with the Popper 2's chip when we get to it. Interestingly, though, they placed the Popper 2 in a later area than the Popper 3, because Popper 2s are only in Undernet 11. Speaking of which, welcome to Undernet 11. I hate this area. I'd argue 2 of the worst battle chips to get in the game are available here and in the last area. In fact, I think I ran into a new enemy that I just didn't show because I didn't fight it successfully just because of how that virus works. More on that when we officially fight it, though. But now we have the next new enemy. This is the Fanner 3, I believe. 180 HP, 160 damage will drop the Cyclone battle chip as long as you defeat it above rank 5 or above, which is the more powerful Hurricane / Typhoon chip, the usual tornado combo. It's powerful. I'd recommend it. I forget the codings. Actually, what does it code in? G, F, and H. Oh, the G code's pretty good if you can get that, honestly. And even then, some battle chips have codes that you can't get from the viruses that drop them. Oh yeah, we're already at 105 battle chips. Yeah, we're well along the way. Because some can only be gotten either from mystery data or from the chip traders. Speaking of battle chips, though, if you're getting them at the end of your battles, you're doing it right. Because to open the door at the end of this area, you either need to always have a busting rank of 5 or above, or 4 or above. I forget if it's 4 and over or 5+. I don't remember the exact way it works, because I usually get that done no problem, because it's honestly probably one of the easiest Undernet clear conditions in the game. With that said, now we have the next new encounter. This is the Megaman 2. 250 HP, Fire Elemental, so water does more damage to them and their barrier. 160 damage. And they can drop the Fire Aura chip if you defeat them, which... The Aura chip line, because I don't think I talked about this when we fought the first Megaman. The way they work is that they protect you from anything lower than the damage number they're associated with. So the Aqua Aura from Megaman 1s will completely nullify damage below 10. And if it is 10, the Aura will just absorb the hit. Unless you're hit by something of its weak element. So the Aqua Aura will take more damage from Elec, so on and so forth. Fire Aura will protect you from anything lower than 40 damage, period, unless it's water elemental. And will drop from rank 8 or above. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. And in part 20, we're technically reaching the end of the internet before I think finally heading on with plot. See you guys. then